In this interview, we chat with the legendary Chicago White Sox organist Nancy Faust to change the way live games are presented. She was even honored by President Barack Obama. We're going to talk about her legendary career and the legacy of the late, great Dick Allen. Wow. For those who don't know, I am Fred Richani. This is TSC News, the TSC News podcast, TSC and MNN. We have the honor and the privilege to be joined by legendary Chicago White Sox organist Nancy Faust. She invented walkout music. She has been at the job for decades. She's a Hall of Famer, and she's here to grace us with her amazing presence. And we're not just joining you in beautiful Arizona, we're joining you in your farm, right?
Well, actually, you're welcome to my barn. I guess you call this a girl cave or a woman cave. This used to be a tack room, and we've converted it to a little office so I can put the organ out here because it doesn't fit in the house. And my gracious donkey is, she's not opinionated, and she accepts any kind of music. So I'm sharing the barn with my gracious donkey, Mandy.
Your donkey seems a lot more obedient than my cats. My cats hear any noise, they just go crazy, they misbehave, and your donkey's just relaxing in the background. Well done.
They're captive. There's no place they can really actually escape. Really fun having them on here with me.
That's true. Now, we want to definitely talk about your legendary career, everything you've accomplished, everything you're currently doing right now. But I have to ask you about the brand new book that is coming out, Chili Dog MVP, Dick Allen, the 72 White Sox, and a Transforming Chicago, which chronicles the legendary Dick Allen and his epic tenure with the Chicago White Sox. In fact, you could say that Dick Allen practically saved the White Sox from being moved. So I got to ask you, Nancy, just about your contributions to the book, and what are your memories of the great Dick Allen?
Well, I had the good fortune of being playing there in 1972 when Dick Allen came on the scene. Actually, that was my third year, and it was the year that the organ was placed behind home plate out with everybody. So I had a lot of exposure, and I had a lot of feedback, and I had a really good feel for fans and just how they reacted to various players. And Dick Allen created a reaction that I have never experienced when I saw fans go crazy when he came up to bat. Because actually, my first year was 1970, when we hit an all-time low in terms of attendance. Wow. I think attendance for the whole season was something like 400,000. Well, Dick Allen came along and he fired up the city, and attendance, well, probably tripled or something. We finished 20 games, I believe, over 500 that season, rather than our poorest record ever. And he just changed the complexion of baseball. I was lucky enough to have been on the scene, and I just responded to his appearance with a song that kind of gave me an identity as well as Dick Allen. And so when Sports Illustrated wrote about this phenom, they'd always include the fact that, well, even the organist has a song for him. And that song was Jesus Christ Superstar. And it was just based on his talents and the reaction of fans to his appearance.
They say that Dick Allen was Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan. Can you just kind of describe that and why that's accurate?
Well, it's accurate because he just created such interest in sports and in baseball. And he brought fans out and attracted a lot of national media. And it was unexpected. And like I say, I was just fortunate to have been there. And I think the team would have probably moved to Milwaukee or some other place because they just couldn't draw before that. So that made the difference, just like Michael Jordan made such a big difference.
And you certainly have made a tremendous difference to all the games where you played the organ. I mean, just coming up with entrance music, with walkout music. I mean, it's something that you would think somebody would have come up with before, but no, you had the foresight to say, hey, I think this would enhance the game. When you first did that and got positive feedback from the fans, what was the reaction of ownership? Were they like, whoa, 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 whoa? Or did they kind of embrace it and understand, like, okay, this is something that we should be doing moving forward?
Oh, I think they really liked it. And it was a matter of me being able to do something well. I didn't have to read music. I could just play anything that I could think of. And like I say, I had the help of knowledgeable fans surrounding me. So they would give me a lot of insight into players that came up to bat. And so actually when I was hired, that was by Stu Holcomb back in 1970. Stu Holcomb at that time was the general manager, and John Allen owned the team at the time still. And Stu had said, perhaps you could give a little walk-up. Now, he didn't call it walk-up music then, just a little fanfare as each player approaches the bat. How about playing a state song for each song, each player? And I just remember that Bart Johnson was one, and that he gave me an example for. And he said, Bart is from California, so you could play. So I would do that, but then I realized, hey, there's more that can be done than just a state song. How about the fact that there's a Bart and Bart Simpson songs? Well, Bart Simpson wasn't popular then, but it was that kind of thing where I was starting to play songs that were associated with names, that rhymed with names, songs that referred to the number on a player's back, or maybe like for yourself, you're Fred, right? For you, I would play something like this. Fred Flintstone, or because there was a Fred in Mr. Ed. Or Freddie Mercury. I think he did. Okay, so you get the idea, Fred?
I certainly get the idea. I am so flattered and honored. That's incredible. But now, besides your incredible talent, you also have to have an incredible memory to play all these. I mean, it's one thing to kind of know the song in your head and all that jazz. It's another thing to actually play it. So for you, how did everything just come to mind? Was it just natural, or were you kind of the Dick Allen of organists, like, or did this take time for you to really kind of perfect your craft?
Well, that's flattering. Dick Allen of organist. Well, it was just really the only thing that I can do well, and that's play anything that I hear, or even if I've never played it. If I know how a song goes, I'm able to play it. I have perfect pitch, and I just strictly play by ear. So if somebody says, oh, how about the theme from Jaws or something? I don't know, just anything. If I had heard it, I could play it. So, and it wasn't just songs for players. When I started, the scoreboard had a very minimal amount of activity on it. So there was a lot of dead time. There was only the PA announcer, the PA guy, and myself. So when he wasn't talking, if there was any kind of activity, I could reflect on that just by looking around. If the moon's coming up, the bad moon rising, or if the game is held up, let's say because the ball gets lost in the sun, I would probably play Blinded by the Light. And then let's say he gets some sunglasses then so he can see. That kind of thing. And then I can see clearly now. But the cat runs out on the field. Or a streaker. Is that all there is? Any kind of activity during the whole game, I could respond to. I was actually in my wheelhouse then, and I was provided the soundtrack for the whole game before scoreboards moved in on my territory. But actually, when the organ was moved to behind home plate, and that was it. That was actually in response to Harry Carey saying, oh, you ought to bring her in from center field where she's closer to the action. So the third year they did. And because I was behind home plate now, I could see a scoreboard that often had messages. And so whatever the message was, it seemed like there'd be a song that would kind of highlight that message. So if there wasn't activity on the field, I'd play something that played off that message. Give me a message and I'll play it, like be kind to your neighbor. Be kind to the people sitting around you. Don't smoke. Slow down the water. Any kind of a message. There was something that could be highlighted musically.
A great story that I read about was when you played Na 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 Hey Hey Goodbye, I believe it was the legendary Billy Martin who was kicked out of the game, and when you started playing that.
Well, that's not when I started it, but it was that year that it took off. And so the fans were kind of conditioned to singing that song. I was the first to play it, and it was during the Bill Beck era when fans were just, uninhibited that year so they were all ripe to respond to songs. And we were vying for first place playing Kansas City in the middle of the summer. And when they pulled a pitcher out, I happened to play this. So the fans loved that, and it became synonymous with our team. And we still do it. In fact, if there's a home run sometimes, or if the pitcher is pulled, it's just fun to get everybody to sing in unison. And that was the first time we ever had fans sing in unison other than Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But yeah, the night that Billy Martin was pulled out of the game, it was perfect. And we happened to be recording my songs that night. And so I said, roll it. And we did. Billy Martin walked away. And actually, when a manager would walk out to the pitcher's mound, I would always kind of play along with them. And as he speed up his pace, and then as they talk down the mound, I might play jive. Any of those talk songs, or Lean on Me if they're trying to calm each other down. 3 people around the mound talking, and they're the bad guys. I kind of broke everything down to bad guys and good guys because I know a lot about baseball. But if the bad guys are up there talking, I play Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But if it's a good guy, Help Me If You Can. Well, there's just so many songs. And I always had a list of different songs and categories like this. My walk songs, or if there's a pop-up and the ball goes real high, I play Sailing. Or something like that, because we have Stairway to Heaven. Any pop-up kind of song, like some. So I just think in terms of song titles and lyrics, and played what I felt was appropriate, anything that could come to mind. And although we didn't have social media in those days, due to the fact that the organ was located with fans, I really had a lot of engagement with those in the know.
Did you have an alternate career path that maybe would have happened had it not been for the White Sox?
Boy, that's a good question. I did go to college, and I majored in psychology. And then I took some education courses. Perhaps I'd be a school teacher. I don't know how good I'd be. I don't know what kind of path I really would have taken, because I was just really, this is my niche, just playing short things, anything. But when I was growing up, music came easy. We discovered that I had a good ear when my parents purchased an organ when I was about 4 years old. My mother is a musician. She was always there to help me. She wasn't a teacher, but she was there to guide me. She couldn't guide me a lot because everything I did was by ear. And as I grew up, I wanted to play what was really popular, like the teenagers liked, which wasn't my mother's kind of music. But when I was very young and my folks realized I had a good ear, and my dad encouraged me to keep practicing, and he'd say, if you practice every day for like 15 minutes at the end of the week or at the end of 2 weeks, I'll take you to horseback riding, and I'd get a horseback riding lesson. And that was my incentive to continue. And lo and behold, I got my horse when I grew up.
You got your horse? Yeah, you got your horse. You got your donkey. That is amazing. And of course, a few years ago, I want to have this right. You were honored in the Baseball Reliquary Shrine of the Eternals Hall of Fame. quite frankly, maybe I'm a little biased along with your friend Dr. Fletcher, but I think you should be enshrined in pretty much every baseball Hall of Fame. But can you just describe that honor and the respect that you've received from the Chicago fans and media?
It's all been positive. Everything just that I've done has always been so well received. I'm just very feel that I've had a most glamorous career, and I like to think that I've added a level of enjoyment to the game that otherwise wouldn't be attained. And it's things that you wouldn't hear at every other ballpark. I had my own style and my own abilities, and it was much more than just playing charge. You know, if you're not familiar with what I do, it's, well, I played the organ at a ballpark, and they say, oh, you do this? Well, yeah, I do that, but it's more than that. It's just reflecting the whole game. And it was well received, and I just lived a glorious life. Thank you.
Absolutely spectacular. Now, Nancy, we always like to ask our guests some kind of random rapid fire questions just to get to know them better. You are a Chicago legend, so I got to ask you some Chicago themed questions. Are you ready?
Oh, probably not, but go ahead.
All right.
Can I answer in the form of music? Because I don't talk very well.
Sure. However you want to answer it, we're all ears. Favorite White Sox player?
Well, it would have to be Richie Allen, hands down. But there's many. There's Fisk, and there's Harold Baines, and there's Hurt, and Burley, and just, yeah, you name them, all of them.
Who is your favorite Chicago artist? Somebody that's also in music or in the arts who you admire that's from Chicago?
The group Chicago. How about that? The group
there you
Chicago.
go. Love it. Favorite Chicago landmark?
The favorite, well, it's probably Navy Pier. I mean, when I do see Navy Pier, I think, oh my goodness, what people must marvel when they come here from another place. It's just breathtaking. It's like going to another country and being surrounded by water, and it's very vibrant. Music, arts, Navy Pier.
Favorite Chicago restaurant?
I do frequent Harry Carey's and Lou Malnati's Pizza.
Was the organ / piano kind of always your main go-to instrument? Did you have any other instruments that you played?
Well, I started on the organ, and that comes the easiest to me. I can play piano, but it's I wouldn't consider myself a professional. But yeah, I can play anything. But the great thing about the organ for me is that I use my foot a lot for the bass, and so because I can use my foot, I can have a lazy left hand and just hit chords. And when you play piano, you can't get away with that. You have to, keep moving with that left hand. And my left hand is a little lazy. So, but yeah, I play a little guitar and what else? Accordion. But no, organ is what I'm most comfortable playing.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I need to hire you one day to just narrate my life. Like, I don't know how. We'll get like a traveling organ, and anytime I go to work or anything else, or I'm feeling sad or happy, just you're in the background. There you go.
Like that.
Yeah, there you go. Love that. Now, of course, Chicago has had a very rich sports history. You were with the White Sox for so long. You got to witness the Bulls dynasty. You got to witness the 85 Bears. But what was it like for you personally when the White Sox finally won the World Series in 2005? And keep in mind, won a World Series more recently at the time than the Chicago Cubs.
How about that? But yes, that was quite a once-in-a-lifetime experience for many. And I think what bothered me most was that I had met so many generations of people, fans, that were not alive to experience that. Fans that, they come and go because some get old and so on. And I just would reflect back to those fans that visit my booth. And I thought, oh, if only they had been here to experience this, because they were so loyal and how much they would have enjoyed that. And it was quite a proud moment for me because all Chicago rallied behind the White Sox. And there was no dissension or challenging teams or anything. I mean, I think even the Cub fans were all out there, and we were just Chicago proud. There were no bad incidents at the rallies and the parade, And it was just a very proud time for Chicago. We were prepared for the worst, but surprisingly, we were all rose to the occasion.
It's been interesting. Bulls are pretty good this season, so we'll see. Justin Fields with Chicago Bears. The future could be bright once again.
There's a lot of hope out there. There's always hope. You gotta have hope, and you gotta have faith.
For anybody watching, for anybody listening, what's the best piece of advice you give for life and success?
Oh, come on. Life and success. Well, do what you love and do what you do well and be the best at what you do, if that's possible. Regardless of what it is, you want to shine.
Is there a way that we can meet Mandy the donkey?
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you asked. Could you just wait a minute and I'll open her door and I'll let her join us? Let me tell you about Mandy, though. Mandy is the successor of Rosita. And Rosita was a door prize when Bill Beck had his crazy promotions. And that was one of the door prizes for Ragtime Night. And since Rosita was not claimed, I guess somebody didn't have a garage that she'd fit in, Rosita the donkey. So I asked Mr. Beck, the owner, if I could take Rosita home. And he said, yeah, you can be the winner. So I had Rosita for many years, and I realized just what a wonderful animal these things were. You know, they were sociable and tolerant. And I learned to kind of understand them. So when Rosita passed, we now have her successor. I placed an ad saying I would like to provide a loving home for a donkey. And somebody called and told me they had a rescue donkey. And so I took her in about 15 years ago. And Mandy, if you come here,
our very first donkey guest on TSC. This is historic. Aw.
Yeah. Can you give Fred a happy face? Give him a happy face. Did you see that happy face?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're a sweetheart. About 700 pounds, and she's about 52 inches at the shoulders.
Wow. What does it take to maintain a donkey and take care of him daily? Is it similar to any other pet? Is it harder, easier than you thought when you started taking care of donkeys?
That's a good question, but I do feed her twice a day, and I shovel every day just to keep up with things, and make sure she has bedding. Give her some hay, water, and some pellets that supplement hay.
Oh, she's so cute. Girl. I love that. Thank you so much for that. Wow.
Well, I did see your interview about the wolf and the lion. Mm-hmm. I guess my answer to that. I love that. I'm going to see that movie for sure too, Fred.
Yeah, The Organist and a Donkey. Yeah, I am a sucker for animals. I'm an animal lover myself. I don't have any donkeys. I have 2 cats though, and a few strays that we feed. And yeah, Nancy, I thank you so much for your time. It was an absolute honor and privilege. Is there anything you wish that I asked you in this interview?
You could ask me if I'd like to play for some more ball games.
Would you like to play for some more ball games?
Yeah, I'll wait for my phone to ring.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll get on that. Okay, Dr. David and I we'll hit everybody up. I mean, you should still definitely be working in baseball and somewhere. Look. Speaking as a New York baseball fan, we would love to have you. I know you belong to Chicago, but anywhere, give Nancy a call. She is spectacular. Nancy, is there anywhere people can find you online? Are you on social media at all?
Well, actually, during COVID, I learned to somewhat of something about Twitter because I thought it would be nice to have some of my songs preserved. Since I was kind of led to believe that Organist would no longer exist, so I thought I better flee the scene before I was asked to do so, but they're still around. Regardless, I thought if I could just put some of my songs out there, I put them out on Twitter, but now you have to scroll way down to find them because I've gone down a rabbit hole, so they say, and I've commented on so many things about sports and other things, but my songs are out there. It's on Plate 41 on Twitter.
Great. And if I could make a suggestion, I think one of your tech buddies should open up a TikTok account for you. I think you would be a hit. I think if you just played a new song every day on TikTok, you'd be a hit.
That's pretty technical for me. I don't know if I can do that. I haven't figured out Facebook, and I don't want to. So, yeah, but thank you. I've heard of it.
All right. We'll talk to Dr. David. We'll talk to our friends in Chicago. We'll get that set up.
Thanks, Fred. Thank you for
Yeah.
letting me join you today. It's been a real pleasure.
Absolutely. It's a real pleasure, Nancy. Thank you so much for everything you've done for the game, what you continue to do, and for just being just a wonderful person. Thank you so much.
Thank you.